सबको सादर नमस्ते जी. Today is Monday, July the 7th, 2025. We're going to start our session on Sandhya Upaasanaa and Mantra Swadhyaya. I hope all of you had a very good long weekend. हमारे आज के स्पीकर हैं आचार्य वरुण देव जी फ्रॉम आर्य समाज सियाटल. नमस्ते आचार्य जी, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है संध्या सेशन में. आप प्लीज संध्या से स्टार्ट
नमस्ते
करिए.
जी। धन्यवाद श्री भल्ला जी। सभी को सादर नमस्ते एवं सभी का इस संध्या के सत्र में स्वागत है। आइए हम सभी मिलकर चित्त को एकाग्र करें, सांसारिक विषयों से मन को पृथक करें, संसार की ऊहापोह से सभी विषयों से मन को अलग करना संध्या की पहली शर्त है, पहली आवश्यकता है। यदि मन में सांसारिक विचार घूमते रहेंगे तो चित्त कभी भी ईश्वर पर एकाग्र होना नहीं चाहेगा। और चित्त से क्योंकि आत्मा इतना संबद्ध है कि वह स्वयं को चित्त ही समझता है, इसलिए उसे लगता है कि चित्त ही घूम रहा है, चित्त ही हर विषय को उठा रहा है। परंतु यदि सूक्ष्मता में, गहराई में आत्मनिरीक्षण एवं आत्मविश्लेषण व्यक्ति स्वयं का करे तो उसे यह पहचान हो सकती है कि वास्तव में चित्त एक यंत्र है आत्मा के लिए, और इस यंत्र का भली भांति सही दिशा में ईश्वर की प्राप्ति के लिए, ईश्वर को अनुभव करने के लिए एवं संसार के सभी कार्यों को सम्यक रूप से पूर्ण करने के लिए योगः कर्म सुकौशलम, व्यक्ति को चित्त को स्वयं से पृथक करके देखना आवश्यक है। तो आइए चित्त को एकाग्र करें, मन को शांत करें, प्राणों को स्थिर करें, शरीर को स्थिर सुखपूर्वक आसन में ले आएं और लंबा गहरा श्वास लेकर 3 ओम की ध्वनि का उच्चारण करने के साथ हम ब्रह्म यज्ञ आरंभ करते हैं। अतः अथ ब्रह्म यज्ञ। ओ ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शन्नो देवीरभिष्टय आपो भवन्तु पीतये संयोरभिस्रवन्तु नः। ॐ वाक् वाक्, ॐ प्राणः प्राणः, ॐ चक्षुः चक्षुः, ॐ श्रोत्रं श्रोत्रम्, ॐ नाभिः, ॐ हृदयम्, ॐ कण्ठः, ॐ शिरः, ॐ बाहुभ्यां यशोबलम्, ॐ करतलकरपृष्ठे, ॐ भुः पुनातु शिरसि, ॐ भुवः पुनातु नेत्रयोः, ॐ स्वः पुनातु कण्ठे, ॐ महः पुनातु हृदये, ॐ जनः पुनातु नाभ्याम्, ॐ तपः पुनातु पादयोः, ॐ सत्यं सत्यं पुनातु पुनः शिरसि। ॐ खं ब्रह्म पुनातु सर्वत्र। ॐ भुः ॐ भुवः ॐ स्वः ॐ महः ॐ जनः ॐ तपः ॐ सत्यम्। ॐ ऋतं च सत्यं चाभिधात्तपसोऽध्यजायत ततो रात्यजायत ततः समुद्रो अर्णवः। ॐ समुद्रादर्णवादधि संवत्सरो अजायत अहोरात्राणि विदधद्विश्वस्य मिषतो वशी। ॐ सूर्याचन्द्रमसौ धाता यथा पूर्वमकल्पयत् दिवं च पृथिवीं चान्तरिक्षमथो स्वः। ॐ शन्नो देवीरभिष्टय आपो भवन्तु पीतये संयोरभिस्रवन्तु नः। ॐ प्राचीदिगग्निरधिपतिरसितो रक्षितादित्या ईशवः। तेभ्यो नमोऽधिपतिभ्यो नमो रक्षितृभ्यो नम ईशुभ्यो नम एभ्यो अस्तु। योऽस्मान्द्वेष्टियं वयं द्विष्मस्तं वोजम्भे दद्मः। ॐ दक्षिणादिगिन्द्रोऽधिपतिस्थिरश्चिराजीरक्षिता पितर ईशवः। तेभ्यो नमोऽधिपतिभ्यो नमो रक्षितृभ्यो नम ईशुभ्यो नम एभ्यो अस्तु। योऽस्मान्द्वेष्टियं वयं दिश्मस्तं वोजम्भे दद्मः। ॐ प्रतीचीदिग्वरुणोऽधिपतिः प्रीदाकुरक्षितान्नमीशवः। तेभ्यो नमोऽधिपतिभ्यो नमो रक्षितृभ्यो नम ईशुभ्यो नम एभ्यो अस्तु। योऽस्मान्द्वेष्टियं वयं द्विष्मस्तं वोजम्भे दद्मः। ॐ उदीचीदिक्सोमोऽधिपतिः स्वजो रक्षिता शनिरिषवः। तेभ्यो नमोऽधिपतिभ्यो नमो रक्षितृभ्यो नम ईशुभ्यो नम एभ्यो अस्तु। योऽस्मान्द्वेष्टियं वयं दिश्मस्तं वोजम्भे दद्मः। ॐ ध्रुवादिग्विष्णुरधिपतिः कल्माषग्रीवो रक्षिता वीरुध ईशवः। तेभ्यो नमोऽधिपतिभ्यो नमो रक्षितृभ्यो नम ईशुभ्यो नम एभ्यो अस्तु। योऽस्मान्द्वेष्टियं वयं द्विष्मस्तं वोजम्भे दद्मः। ॐ ऊर्ध्वादिबृहस्पतिरधिपतिः श्वित्रो रक्षिता वर्षमीशवः। तेभ्यो नमोऽधिपतिभ्यो नमो रक्षितृभ्यो नम ईशुभ्यो नम एभ्यो अस्तु। योऽस्मान्द्वेष्टियं वयं दिश्मस्तं वोजम्भे दद्मः। उद्वयं तमसस्परिस्वः पश्यन्त उत्तरम् देवं देवत्रा सूर्यमगन्मज्योतिरुत्तमम् ॐ उदुत्यं जातवेदसं देवं वहन्ति केतवः दृशे विश्वाय सूर्यम् ॐ चित्रं देवानामुदगादनीकं चक्षुर्मित्रस्य वरुणस्याग्नेः आप्राद्या वा पृथिवी अन्तरिक्षं सूर्य आत्मा जगतस्तस्थुषश्च स्वाहा ॐ तच्चक्षुर्देवहितं पुरस्ताच्छुक्रमुच्चरत् पश्येम शरदः शतं जीवेम शरदः शतं शृणुयाम शरदः शतं प्रब्रवाम शरदः शतमदीनाहस्याम शरदः शतम् भूयश्च शरदः शतात् ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् हे ईश्वर दयानिधे भवत्कृपयानेन जपोपासनादिकर्मणा धर्मार्थकाममोक्षाणां सद्यः सिद्धिर्भवेन्नः ॐ नमः शम्भवाय च मयो भवाय च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च ॐ शान्तिः 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 In our mantra Swadhyaya series, in this Satra, we completed our Swadhyaya of Prathama Prakash of Aaryabhivinaya Granth, which is one of the wonderful gift to all the Aryas from Maharshi Dayananda ji. And today, before starting the new Prakash, Dvitiya Prakash of Aaryabhivinaya Granth, we will just, in order to revise what we have learned, what was there in the Prathama Prakash, we will take a look of kind of revision for all of us so that it becomes for us and a significant step towards understanding the Vaidik Shastras, especially the Vedas, and to get connected with their consciousness. So, I will just give a short review of not all the mantras, but like the first mantra we read, Shanno Mitraha, and very powerful mantra. Shanno Mitraha Sham Varunaha, Shanno Bhavatvaryama, Shanna Indro Bhrihaspatihi, Shanno Vishnu Rurukrama. If we look at the pattern of the mantra, in the first mantra Maharshi Dayanand, and in the second mantra of Prathama Prakash, he gave such a long Vyakhyan. This is the first mantra of Rig Veda, Agni Vile Purohitam Yajasya Deva Mritvijam Hotaram Ratna Dhatamam. So if we look at the pattern of the mantra, like it is starting from the prayer from the divine consciousness for the peace. Because peace, the Shanti, is the foundation of all the spiritual realizations. If there is no peace in our being, if there is no peace in our mind, peace in our heart, peace in our prana, peace in our thoughts, emotions, then we will always be restless. And in the restlessness, no divine knowledge can be attained. So if we look why the stuti with the pray for the prayer of peace, and then in the second mantra, immediately he came to the Agni Mile Purohitam Yajasya Deva Mritvijam, where there is a stuti of Ishwar that again and again in so many mantras of Prathama Prakash we find Agni. Agni, we always refer to Paramatma, who is self-effulgent, self-enlightened, and which is forever omniscient, full of knowledge. The perfect consciousness, complete consciousness. So whenever we use this word Agni, even in the material world, if we look, Agni always, it gives warmth, removes darkness, and inwardly in our outer life as well as in our inner life, the Agni is knowledge, which destroys all ignorance, and it brings the confidence, the true faith, not the blind beliefs, the true faith on Parameshwar. And when the true faith is generated by the attainment of the knowledge, then that faith is, nobody can shake that faith. That is why we look at the all the rishis parampara, all the Maharshi, including Maharshi Dayanand, who has provided such a vast scope of attainment of that Vedic knowledge. He had opened so many gates so that we can enter into that divine wisdom. But it is up to us how sincere we are. There are the best. In one of the Vyakhyan, Maharshi Dayanandji described that what is the best dhan, the most precious dhan, ratna. What is that? That is the divine knowledge. That jnana, which is encompassing everything in this world, which can bring everything to us if we have the knowledge, the right knowledge, that we should aspire for. And then If we see the pattern of the mantras, then invocation of that knowledge, which always makes us courageous, which always makes us something what we are not at present. So basically that Agni, even if we look, if we remember, we recall Kathopanishad, and when Nachiketa goes to Yamacharya, and when Yamacharya gives three boons to ask from Yamacharya, then the knowledge of the self, and then he describes beautifully there the Agni, which is basically the aspiration in ourself, and that aspiration of knowledge, that aspiration which brings that, invoke that divine consciousness and uplifts our consciousness towards the divine divine level. So basically, if we look at these pattern, we should, if we have completed this Prathama Prakash, it does not mean that we should stop doing the Swadhyaya. This we have, a entry is given now, and now more and more we will make this habit of doing Swadhyaya of these mantras day by day. Like there are 53 mantra in the Prathama Prakash, and we have to take one day one mantra and then contemplate on the meaning of the mantra, because we have already gone through the mantras, 53 mantras, and now we are going soon to, in the next session, start from the Swadhyaya Prakash, and then more and more the knowledge, that vivid knowledge, will be added to our treasure. The treasure of knowledge, this is the real treasure, and who understands that can never be unhappy in his life. So many prayers to Agni, expressing the gratitude for that Paramatma who is Swa Prakasha Swarupa, who is giving his knowledge to everyone of Jiva, ourself, of Paramatma himself, and this Prakriti. And that is the blessing. And we have to seek that wealth of knowledge in the Vedas by studying them, by doing Swadhyaya and contemplating and concentration with sincerity. So many, another hymn of praise of Swa Prakash Swarup, that Agni, where Ishwar is that all-seeing Supreme Lord, is creator of this entire universe. And we should basically learn, memorize these mantra from heart, some of them which are very short. For example, we should try to memorize them, like this mantra: Yadang dashushe tvamagne bhadram karishyasi tavetat satyamangiraha. Beautiful prayer and more, very powerful prayer, because this prayer is so intimate. Why? Because in this prayer, Maharishi Dayanandji has provided such a wonderful Vyakhyan, and of course, mantra is Ishwariya Vani, in which we are referring Ishwar as the our Ang. Is there anything else more intimate reference or addressing of Parmeshwar than Ang? That he is our Ang, and what is the Vyakhya? Mitra. And we clearly understood who is Mitra, whom we can consider as our part of our self. And we, Dashushe, we have to offer that Paramatma, that Mitra, Param Mitra, our everything, whatever we have. For then, to such kind of person, being Mitra, Parameshwar gives Bhadram. And whenever this word come to in our mind, Bhadra, Bhadram, Bhadram Karnebhi Shinuyama Deva. So this word always should resonate in ourself with the meaning of Vyavaharik, worldly, prosperity, welfare, wealth, and at the same time, the Paramarthik, the spiritual upliftment, the spiritual welfare. And then our prayer becomes so intense. We have why we are doing a study, why we are doing Swadhyaya, because we want intensity in our devotion. We want more constant connection with Paramatma. And constant connection with Paramatma will only be there as we remember that story. Someone went to a teacher and said, I want to realize the divine, Paramatma. Then that teacher said, how much you are aspiring to realize the Paramatma? That person said, I can do anything in this world to realize the presence of the divine. The teacher said, okay, come here. And then he took his head and drowned him in the water. And then when he, after a few seconds, he brought him out, he asked, when you were in the water, what did you want? He said, I wanted to come out of this water because I was drowning. I could not breathe. I was so uncomfortable. I thought that without breathing, I would die. He said, when you have that condition, that state, that you cannot live without the presence, without having the experience of Paramatma, then you will be ready to realize the Paramatma. And if we look at the aspiration, the intensity in the behavior, in the life of Maharshi Dayanandji, how intense he was in aspiration. He went everywhere in Bharat. He roamed around everywhere, from Himalaya to from Kashmir to all the states almost he went, except few in the South India. And why? Because he really wanted that feeling of, without experiencing the presence of the divine, without that connection, the yogi feels like the fish is out of water. So that should be the purpose, that why we are doing the Swadhyaya. We want that intensity, that sincere, intense aspiration, devotion, so that we can get connected with the presence of the divine. So we should memorize such mantra which can, wherever we are, without book, we remember and we just have connection. Another, this mantra, Pavakanah Saraswati Vaje Bhirvajinivati Yajyam Vashtu Dhyavasu. We are invoking the Paramatma, that Sarva Shastra Vijnana Yukta Vedavani. There are mantras which are chosen by Maharshi Dayanandji with the purpose for making us more and more devotional, to enrich our consciousness with, and this mantra, we should remember many of the respected Aryas here, they must be very familiar with this mantra. Tad Vishnoho paramam padam sada pashyanti suryah diviva chakshuratamam. That, and this mantra basically is for those who are mumukshu. Mumukshu means the ones who are trying to realize, to have the sakshatkar of Parmeshwar, that Sarva Vyapak Prabhu. And that is a pad, that is a state of consciousness of that Paramatma we can attain, we can reach, we can experience when Sada Pashyanti Suryaha, when we have that self-control on our life, on our mind, on our senses, when more and more we are on the path of Shreya, Shreya Marg, the path which leads to the divine consciousness. There are two paths, as Yamacharya is describing. One is Shreya, which goes to the spiritual realm, the realm of reality, true reality, and the another which goes into this source of all this chaos, bewilderness of this world, where there is no clarity. But if we want clarity, if we want to walk in the light of that knowledge, in the sun, then we have to move towards the Paramatma with the help of these mantras. Vishnoho karmani pashyata yato vratani paspashe indrasya yujyah sakha. How wonderful is the mantra that we have to observe the divine functioning, how the divine is working. I was saying yesterday someone that we are trying, the scientist, the science. What is science? What is physics, chemistry? This is all just an effort to understand the functioning of this, how the forces are being acting in this world. And we are saying that we are the scientist. Of course, we have that subtle mind which can understand the science behind this creation. But the one who has created this, how vast intelligence, infinite intelligence, omnipotent, omniscient is that wisdom who has created this entire universe. So we have to look at the functioning of the divine so that we can imbibe that nature of Paramatma in ourselves, so that we also become like, we also reflect that consciousness. That is why still we adore, we admire the life of Shri Ram, the life of Shri Krishna, life of Maharshi Dayanand, because the way they lived is an example for all of us. That Paramatma is our forever, our friend, the best friend. So there are so many, this is the treasure we should every day go through. And more we will enter into the meaning of these mantra, more and more we will feel the connections, and more we will be obliged to sit in meditation and not to gossip, but to concentrate on the divine consciousness. And the last mantra which we read, and then there is a small presentation. The so Yeah. So what is the eternal relevance of these mantras? Of any mantra of the Veda, because all the Vedas, Veda mantras, they are the knowledge of the divine consciousness, Vedavani, Ishwariyavani, which are aporusheya, not created by any human being. So because they give us stillness amid this chaos of this world, and clarity amid the confusions. If we don't take the help of Vedas, there will be no clarity. That is why we can see the wars. We can see the chaos in this world, because the Vedas are for the welfare of all living creatures whatsoever, not particularly to one community or one kind of people, but all of us. And strength amid struggle. If we really want to preserve and protect our culture, we have to we have to gain this strength amid this struggle to survive. Of course, the Vedvani is eternal, but we, in this human form, this mind, soul is immortal, but this mind is not immortal, it is mortal. This body is mortal. So whatever we can do in this lifetime, in this body, in this mind, in order to preserve and protect our Sanskriti and to transfer the knowledge towards the new generation, that we can only get through the Veda mantras. And bliss amid this sorrow. We whole life we are searching, we are running behind the line of that satisfaction which we can never touch in this world. Everyone is running for that happiness, that bliss. But unfortunately, paradoxically, that is not in the world, that is within. And that door of inner door to which opens to the divine consciousness can only be opened when we practice these mantras in our life, in our meditation, when Ashtang Yoga becomes our day-to-day practical, like every day, what is our schedule? We wake up, we do our work, we eat, we do all kinds of things for the family to take care of them, and then we sleep. But amidst all this schedule, if we remember that Parmeshwar is our only guidance, our help, only our everything on which we can rely, then the yoga, the process of yoga starts. Otherwise, yoga is not only to sit 15 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes in meditations. It is practical psychology. It should be there in our psychology all the time, running behind the screen, giving us strength, inspirations. That becomes yoga when we connect ourselves with the divine consciousness with the help of these Veda mantras. And the dual role of the Paramatma of Supreme as the creator and destroyer, of course, he is the sustainer, most important. Because if there is no sustainer, the creation and the destruction is useless. So, amid this whole entire creation, we have to look Vishnohu karmani pashyata yato vratani paspashyati. And from praise to protection, the Supreme Lord's divine qualities, attributes we should aspire, because He is the nourisher of His children. We are the Jivatmas. He always nourishes us with the knowledge, with the resources of this world, and with everything He can provide according to our capacity and aspiration. He is destroyer of all the vice. Vishwani Dev Savitar Duritani Parasuva. सब दुख दुर्गुण दुर्व्यसनों से हमें दूर करने वाला वह परमात्मा है, विद द नॉलेज एंड द गिवर ऑफ ब्लिस दैट ट्रांसेंड्स सफरिंग. So if we just take few steps to read sincerely, to practice, and of course, most of you must be doing, practicing, contemplating the mantras, then it becomes more and more powerful, effective in our individual life as well as in our social life. So from next session, we will start our Dvitiya Prakash and first mantra. Thank you everyone for listening to me. Now we will do Shanti Part. Om Dyahu Shantirantarikshan Shantihi Prithivi Shantirapah Shantiroshadhayah Shantihi Vanaspatayah Shantirvishve Devah Shantirbrahma Shantihi Sarvam Shantihi Shantireva Shantihi Sama Shanti Redhi. Om Shanti.